Hello, everyone. It is great to be here. I would like to welcome you to the first prep session for the My Sister's Closet 2023 job fair. Today, we will be going over goal setting, which is a very important part for career progression and reaching those goals that you want to reach. I know this year, a lot of folks have New Year's resolutions or maybe some different things that they want to accomplish going forward. All right, before we get into it, I want to talk about our schedule. So week one, today, we're going over career goal setting. And then next week, same time, same place, same link, we're going to be going over resume writing. Week three, we're going to be going over interview. We're going to have some mock interviews, some interview training, and then we're going to have our wrap-up session on week four. So that could be any questions that you have or anything that you want to elaborate on. That's what week four is about. Any questions so far? All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about long-term goals and short-term goals. And for those on the line, if you can give me an idea as to what one of your long-term goals are. And we're talking about career goals. What's one of your long-term goals, and then what's one of your short-term goals? So I think the mic is open, so you guys can speak up. And hey, what's one of your long-term goals? Is that Jerry Goins?
Yes.
Jerry, yes. All right.
One of my long-term goals is to prepare to learn to teach English in a college setting. That is one of the goals that I want to prepare for. It's something that I want to do when I retire from my current position, which I'm hoping to take place in the next 4 years. So that's what I'm looking to do.
Thank you. Teach English, college setting, 4 years. Got it. Thank you. All right. And is that Miss Black, Mrs. Black? What about you as far as a short-term goal or a long-term goal?
So my short-term goal is to I have created a training program for managers. And so my short-term goal is to get it in the hands of at least 5 employers in the next 12 months. And then over the long haul is to develop a series of management or leadership development courses that I can offer online or in person.
Awesome. Great goals. I really appreciate your participation. So with that, today, since we have two different types of, we have some goals here and they're kind of different. So for example, Jerry's goal isn't necessarily something that's going to build from her current career. So let's just say that Jerry was an entry-level program manager and she wanted to be a senior level program manager. And Jerry's example, she's going to retire from her current job and she's going to a different field. So it's from a goal perspective, there's not things that she would be setting under her current endeavors. Now, Ms. Black, you'll be setting, I'm assuming you have your own company. And so you will be setting goals under your current endeavor. And so it sounds like based off of what you said that from a long-term goal perspective, there's things that you're doing in the short term to get to that point where you'll be able to develop those series of manuals. And so you'll have learnings from that first training program that you create that you're going to fold into your longer term goal and accomplishing your longer term goal. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk from that context as we move forward. All right. So I put an example up here as far as documenting your long-term goals. And as I was going through this, I thought about it. So there's short-term goals, there's long-term goals, but thinking with the end in mind here, and then we'll back up to the short-term goals. So, Miss Veronica, you would like to have a series of manuals. And these are some questions that I have here, but they may or may not be applicable to you and what's needed to reach your long-term goal. So for example, what knowledge, skills, and abilities do you need? What certifications do you need, if any? But those are examples. Do you have any examples of the types of activities that you'll need to complete in order to reach your long-term goal?
So the trainings, of course, that I'm developing actually comes from real life experiences that I had. And due to me holding positions in management, or due to me holding management positions in a few of large employers, I realized that some of the trainings that I went through in those particular institutions were not sufficient. And so this is an effort of mine of trying to close the training gaps that I experienced, because I'm sure if I experienced them, there are several other people who have. So of course, the skills and abilities that I've acquired in those management roles are things that are applicable as I'm developing this course and the course materials.
Okay, is there anything in addition to, so outside of these questions, anything additional that you need to plan for and work toward to make this happen? So
Yes, I would say, because course creation is not my forte, is to get some training on course creation.
Okay, so training on course creation. Now, and from the standpoint of anything from a customer relationship part, or I'm assuming you want to sell these once you have them developed. Anything from a customer relation or ideal customer that you want to start having conversations with to learn some of their needs, and you can fine tune things, how you want to understand how you're going to commercialize this, what the business model is. It going to be accessible online? Is it going to be material? Are you going to train them in person? Is it going to be a combination? So anything from a planning perspective that you may need to work through?
Yes, of course, the first thought is that it will be online and in person. And then the second part would be, to identify those potential employers who would be interested in such training that I would offer. And so I would target, trainers and different organizations, and kind of, try to educate and sell the training that I have, so that, hopefully they will open up their doors and allow me to perform the training with their employers.
Okay, awesome. And I believe we have a Miss Cross on the line. And Miss Cross, do you have a long-term goal?
Yes.
Yep.
So my long-term goal is to be a licensed clinical therapist at my own practice. So I'm looking at these questions and I'm thinking that while I'm working towards getting my master's in clinical therapy as a short-term goal, I'm kind of realizing that maybe another long-term goal for me would be getting like an associate's in like business and marketing in order to open my own practice.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I have a question on how you suggest going about budgeting time for these types of plans, like specific deadlines for certain goals, or like breaking things down like weekly, hourly, etc.
Very question, Cameron. And so from a long-term perspective, for example, you'll have your goal. And so you want to be a licensed clinical therapist. And then below that, you'll have the activities and tasks that you need to do that. I don't know, I'm not familiar with your field, but you may need another degree on top of your existing degree. You may need a certification. You may need some on-the-job experience. You may need a variety of different things there. So thinking through those things that you would need or that you would possibly need and putting a start and end date. So for example, you may need a certain amount of experience before you actually move on to the next step. And I just don't know enough about your field to understand, but it's basically.
So you're right. So I need to get like a certain amount of like clinical hours in order to like be considered for licensure.
Right. And let's just say that it takes 3 years or 4 years, and over 4 years, you need to have a certain amount of hours, whatever those hours are. And so you'll say, hey, and then you can break it down even further, but you can say clinicals here, and then from the standpoint of, you can even break it down to year by years, but your start date and your end date, so that you can say, okay, 2026, I'm going to finish clinicals A, and it starts in January and it ends in May.
Okay.
And so you already have that in your plan. You may need a certification before you graduate. So let's just say you graduate in 2027, then I need to get this particular certification. I need to have that complete by this end date. And so you could start working in the near term towards studying for that certification. And granted, again, I don't know how this works, but from a hypothetical perspective, it's you're planning and what you're doing, because time is passing and you want to make sure that as time passes, you're on top of it. So then when time does come, you're ready.
Got it.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. And so thank you for that question, Cameron, because the next part of it is basically, how do we document our long-term goals? And so, Miss Jerry, I know you said that you wanted to teach English in a college setting, and this is something that you want to do within 4 years. So then, are there any things that you need to do over? So short term, I define as 1 to 2 years, so up to 2 years. And then longer term is going to be anything past 2 years and longer. And so what are some of those things that you'll need to do in the longer term to make sure that you get your particular opportunity to teach in a college setting?
Well, one of the things that I think would be helpful is to take a English class.
Okay.
See how it's done. It's basically research. See how people are doing it. See if the things that I have in my head are the things that people are already doing. Also, the research will show me how the students participate in the class. So I could gear my lesson plan towards the type of students that I will be teaching. The other thing is to speak with other people that are in the field and build a network so that when the time comes, they'll be like, okay, Jerry, you're ready. But see, you know what happens when you do that? They want you to get started before the 4 years. And so I do have to kind of be stealth in how I approach this. I think that's the biggest thing that I could do is research, and then yeah, take one of those classes, maybe take a teaching class as well.
Okay, so the thing is here is that I broke them up from a presentation perspective and long and short-term goals. But basically, I think when we look at it, what we're doing is we are developing our plan. Let's say we're developing our 5-year plan, if you will. And we can start now and build out our goals. And you may have basically, let's just say that you do want to be a licensed clinical therapist. That's your end goal. But you have sub goals underneath that. And those are the things that would make up your ability to reach that goal of being a licensed clinical therapist in the next 4 years or 5 years. So what I would like for us to do is take some time as far as Miss Jerry, you want to teach English in a college setting. So let's outline your short-term, your big goal is teaching English in a college setting. And that's within 4 years. And then let's get our sub goals, whatever those small items are, or smaller items, like you said, taking an English class. When are you going to take that class? Speaking with people in the field. So when are you going to start that? Those sub goals, let's document those and think about when you're going to complete those. And Ms. Jerry, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, one of the things that can get a little confusing is actually, I know activities and tasks are more like verbs, but sometimes you get confused the goals with the activities and tasks because they could be interchangeable in some ways. How do you know the difference between an activity and a goal?
I see what you're saying. So let's just say that my goal from a company perspective is to close 4 $500,000 deals in 2023. So I can measure it, 4 $500,000 goals in 2023. I'm sorry, deals in 2023. So that's my goal. Now, the activities that I'm doing for that, let's just say, let's put it up here. 4 deals, close 4 deals, 2023, totaling 2 million. Right? So there's a list of things that I think that I'm going to need to do. So I may need to start business development with government agency A. Right? And then I may need to say, so the start date, I'll just put 2/02/23. 23, and this could last for the whole year. And then from there, I'm going to have another activity where I say, hey, I want to have 2 meetings with the customer for government agency A per week. And then I can go from 2/02 to the end of the year, 12/31. And so I just keep bringing the activities down, the tasks down, at more of a granular level as far as the specific things that I need to do to accomplish this. So the way that I think about it is the activities and tasks are the actions that you take to accomplish the goal. The goal still remains the same. The actions help you to reach that goal. The tasks help you to reach that goal. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so any other questions? Miss Veronica, Miss Cross, any questions on your end?
No, I don't have any immediate questions.
No, not
Okay.
right now.
Awesome. All right, so what I'd like to do is take about 15 minutes. I think I think we have another 30 minutes in the course here, and take about 15 minutes and think through your goals, your longer term goals, and think through the different things that you'll need to, the lower level goals, the sub goals, and then the activities that you need to do to be able to do that. And so as an example of a sub goal, I may need to hire. So this is closing 4 deals in 2023, totaling $2 million. I might need to hire someone, a BD person that can help me do this. So hiring, I can put the start date. I may need to do a start date here to hire that particular person. And so the activities associated with that may be a job posting or post job posting. And then I want to start the process and I want to end the process. I want to hire this person by, I don't know, March. Just saying March here. So I want to basically hire this person. But this right here is like my long-term goal. Or it would be really more of my longer term goal if I were to say close 4 deals by 2026, for example. And then this would be a shorter term goal because I want to hire this person in the near term in 2023. So you could say something like long term, and then you can label it short term. Okay. All right. So if we don't have any questions, I'd love for everyone to basically, whether on a piece of paper or in a Word document, go through and think through, and then we'll have a discussion. And based on the performance, my sister's closet will cut you a check. All right. All right. So about 6:45, we'll come back and have a discussion there. All right, ladies, how we doing?
Good.
Good, yeah.
All right, so I just went through on my end and just put things in a format, thought about the scenario more and put things in a format here. So basically, I'll just talk to what I have real quick is closing 4 deals totaling 2 million by 2026. I could be more specific if I wanted to. So I could say federal government deals totaling 2 million by 2026. I want to start my business development at this particular agency. I need to get my marketing material ready. I want to be able to have 2 customer presentations per week, for example. So this is the activities I'm doing for the duration of that timeline. And then to support that, I also want to bring in somebody to help me with my business development activities. They'll probably be able to support these meetings, if not do those meetings. So I want to get somebody in there. So someone that has the bandwidth that can be focused on doing that. And then also an 8A certificate may help me as well. So I want to get that within the year of 2023. That can help me get federal government contracts. So this is just a walkthrough of a scenario where, and there's more things a lot more things that I could add here, but these are just, it's a way of thinking about how you're going to get this by 2026. And I'd like to understand what you have, if you can talk through what you've done. And I'll just pick someone because I like their glasses and their haircut. And Mrs. Jerry, if you could speak to what you have for your goals and your activities and your timelines as well.
Okay. The first thing I said I was going to research the criteria to become an English teacher. I want to speak with a dean and a teacher from the junior college environment and the university level environment.
What's the date on that one? When are you going to do that by?
So I gotta identify who they are, and so I would say that I would start in March, and I would have that done no later than July 1st.
Okay.
Just because I have time, it's 4 years.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else that you?
I would take a English class. I would say that to next year. I don't want to be too far out. When I get closer to the time that I would take something like that on. So I would put that for next year.
And any sub goals underneath that, for example, under your English class, taking that, let's say you take it in January of next year, but any sub goals that you need to think about, or activities that you need to think about?
I would need to figure out what type of English class I'm going to take. Clearly grammar is at the top of the list, but I want to see what other kind of English classes it would be good. Yeah, I'm not sure. Be part of based on my discussions with deans and other teachers, would probably guide me in to know which classes to take. So I would register.
Yeah, the application process could be one.
Okay.
Which identifying which school that you want to attend could be another.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Awesome. Okay. All right. And Miss Black, another lady that I like the glasses and hairstyle of. Would you mind talking to your goals and timelines and activities?
Sure. So my overall long-term goal, because I kind of um revised it so that it can follow the SMART format, which is specific, measurable, attainable, uh, realistic, and time bound. So I put provide management or leadership training courses to 100 small business organizations. And when I say small business organizations, that's with employees of the number of employees in the organizations is 200 or less by 2025. That is the long-term goal. And then I broke it down and I kind of was like my brain kept skipping because I thought I was trying to go in sequential order, but I just was starting to write stuff down. So I put create a series of training materials, contract a course content manager, or contract with a course content manager, get the materials copyrighted, reach out to friends or former colleagues who have duties or responsibilities for training in the organization, or they can connect me with the appropriate people, create marketing materials, and then book my calendar.
And you have times associated with when you're going to have those started and completed?
That is the piece that I need to continue to work on. So like currently I already have one program already done. But of course, you know, as I'm out there meeting with different organizations and talking to people, that will help me to identify other gaps or needs and then develop new programs. And so the development of the programs, I think would be, I would say ongoing, at least for the first 2 years. And then the copywriting of the materials will be ongoing because as I create new content, that new content would have to be copyrighted. And copywriting is important because I don't want to share my smarts and then someone else gets the credit for it. So that's why I'm going through the copyright, but I think it's ongoing. But the immediate short-term goal for me is to at least have the first set of the trainings done. The first, to secure a date to conduct the first series of training by March of 2023. Because the material is already completed.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And then from the standpoint of, do you need any additional resources to hire anyone, any support with marketing or customer conversations, calls, or anything from that perspective?
So the additional, like the course, the marketing person is something I probably will do, bring on before the end of February of 2023, because I do believe that the marketing specialist and the course content manager would be an ongoing relationship. I initially will not hire them on as employees, but as contractors. And then if things grow, then I would look to bring on employees too. serve in those roles.
Awesome. When things grow. Okay, awesome. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you much. And
You're welcome.
Miss Cross.
Okay, so I focused on short-term goals with mine because my master's program pretty much lays out the long-term goal. So I wanted to focus on goals I have that I want to get like in tandem with my master's. So my biggest goal is like gaining outreach experience with the target populations that I want to work with as a therapist. So the first task that I put under that was participate in-person programs at homeless shelters through MSC. And for my start date, I put February 24th because I figure I should do it after the job fair. And then for the end date, I said September 2023 because that's when I would be going to my master's program.
Mhm.
And then for the next task that I put was apply for / work as a part-time behavioral technician. And then for those dates, I put September 2023 until September 2024, because by September 2024, I'll be doing my clinical hours within my master's program. So I wouldn't be able to do that at the same time, but I could do it for like the first year of my master's program.
Awesome. Awesome. And based on the conversations that we're having and what everyone's saying, I believe everyone feels they get the framework, the approach from a goal setting perspective. And are there any questions? Do you feel comfortable with just thinking through your plans and your goals to achieve your short-term or your long-term goals? Any questions there? Okay. All right. So, all right, awesome. So again, this is the prep session, the first prep session, the first of 4 for our job fair on February 23rd. And this is our flyer. So we'll have interviews, resume support, everything the day of that may be needed prior to speaking with actual employers and having the conversations and potentially doing some on-site interviews. And I'd like to thank you for your time and your participation. Our next session will be on January 30th at 7 p.m. and we will be going over resume building, and that will be presented by Mr. Drosen and Mr. Mitter. And if you would like to register for this event, I'm going to put this in the chat for you. Hopefully I will see everyone there, or everyone will come to this event. If I can figure out how to do this chat thing. Let's see, I think this is how you do it. So I'll put that in there for everyone. And you guys have been great to work with today. I really appreciate your participation.